1. We've got a real blast from the past. A 1971 Ford Pinto, and boy is it a sight to behold. This little yellow coupe is currently up for grabs on Craigslist for just $6,900. Can you believe it? Now, let's dive into the details. The seller claims this Pinto is in excellent condition, and from what we can see, it looks pretty darn clean. With only 71,000 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. Plus, it's been basking in that New Mexico sun, so you don't have to worry about any pesky rust issues. Under the hood, you'll find a peppy little 4-cylinder engine that's paired with a manual transmission. Not only is it fun to drive, but it's also great on gas, which is a big plus these days. And with rear-wheel drive, you can channel your inner race car driver and have a blast on those twisty roads. The seller also mentions that this Pinto has never been in an accident, which is always good to hear. It's a clean title car, so you can buy with confidence. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but wait, isn't the Pinto known for its safety issues? And you're right, the Pinto's reputation isn't the best in that department. However, it's important to remember that this car is over 50 years old, and safety standards have come a long way since then. As with any classic car, it's crucial to prioritize safety and make sure everything is in proper working order. All in all, if you're looking for a funky little piece of automotive history that's sure to turn heads, this 1971 Ford Pinto might just be the car for you. And at $6,900 or best offer, it's a pretty sweet deal. Just remember to give it a thorough inspection before you buy, and always prioritize safety when driving any classic car. 2. We've got a real treat for you, a 1962 Ford Galaxie 500, and let me tell you, this beauty is a sight to behold. This classic piece of American muscle is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $10,000. Can you believe it? Now, let's take a closer look at what this Galaxie 500 has to offer. The seller describes the car as being in good condition, and from what we can see, it looks like it's been well taken care of. The seller has owned this car for 7 years, which is always a good sign. It means they've had plenty of time to get to know the car and take care of any issues that may have popped up. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 352 cubic inch V8 engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This combo is sure to provide plenty of power and a smooth driving experience. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll be able to feel that classic muscle car vibe as you cruise down the road. The seller has also made some notable upgrades to this Galaxie 500. It's got new tires, brakes, carburetor, fuel tank, shocks, and an alternator that looks like a generator, which is a cool retro touch. The interior has also been redone, although the seller mentions it's an older redo. Still, it's nice to know that the inside has been given some attention. One of the coolest things about this Galaxie 500 is that it's a no-post car. That means there's no center pillar between the front and rear windows, giving it a sleek, open look. It's a feature that's highly sought after by collectors and enthusiasts alike. The seller mentions that this car is solid and that you can drive it home. That's always a big plus when buying a classic car. You don't want to get stuck with a vehicle that needs to be towed or trailered home. Now, as with any classic car, it's important to give it a thorough inspection before making a purchase. While the seller describes it as being in good condition, it's always a good idea to check things out for yourself or bring along a knowledgeable friend or mechanic. All in all, if you're in the market for a classic piece of American muscle, this 1962 Ford Galaxie 500 is definitely worth checking out. And at $10,000 or best offer, it's a pretty fair price for a car with this much history and character. Just remember to do your due diligence and always prioritize safety when driving any classic car. 3. We've got a real gem for you, a 1981 Lincoln Town Car, and let me tell you, this thing is a sight to behold. This classic luxury cruiser is currently up for sale on Craigslist for just $7,800. Can you believe it? Now let's dive into the details. The seller describes this town car as being in excellent condition, and from what we can see, it looks absolutely stunning. The seller owns the car, so you know they've got all the inside info on this beauty. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This combo is sure to provide a smooth and effortless driving experience. And with rear-wheel drive, you'll be able to enjoy that classic American luxury car feel as you cruise down the road. The seller hasn't provided a ton of additional info on the car, but given that they own it, there's a good chance they'll be able to answer any questions you might have. And since the ad is still up, it's possible that this gorgeous town car is still available for the taking. Now, the seller does mention that they're open to offers without seeing the car in person. While it's always best to check out a vehicle in person before making a purchase, it's nice to know that the seller is willing to work with potential buyers who might not be able to make the trip right away. Of course, as with any used car purchase, it's important to do your due diligence. Even though the seller describes this town car as being in excellent condition, it's always a good idea to give it a thorough inspection before making a final decision. All in all, if you're in the market for a classic American luxury car that's sure to turn heads, this 1981 Lincoln Town Car is definitely worth checking out. And at just $7,800, it's a pretty sweet deal for a car with this much style and character. So what are you waiting for? As the seller says, come see this beauty for yourself. And who knows, maybe you'll be the lucky new owner of this incredible piece of automotive history. 4. We're diving into the details of a 1953 Oldsmobile 88 that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. This classic beauty is being offered at $12,000, and it's got some interesting features that are worth talking about. First off, let's address the condition. The seller states that it's in good shape, which is promising. However, as with any vehicle this old, it's important to take a closer look and assess the situation for yourself. There could be some hidden issues that aren't immediately apparent, so it's always wise to approach these things with a critical eye. Now, let's get to the good stuff. This Olds is rocking a 5.7-liter 350 small block engine that's had a mild build, which is a great sign for anyone looking for a bit of extra power. It's paired with a turbo 350 transmission, a reliable and well-regarded choice for this era of vehicle. The seller also mentions that it's got a clean title, which is always a plus when you're dealing with a classic car. One thing to note is that the seller hasn't provided an odometer reading, so it's hard to say exactly how many miles this car has traveled over the years. That's definitely something you'll want to inquire about if you're seriously interested in making an offer. Aesthetically, this Olds is sporting a green paint job, which is a classic color choice for vehicles of this era. It's a nice touch that adds to the overall vintage vibe of the car. The seller does mention that there are too many details to list in the ad, so if you're keen on learning more, you'll want to reach out to them directly. They seem open to answering questions and providing more information, which is always a good sign. As for the price, $12,000 is what they're asking, but the ad does say OBO, or best offer, so there may be some room for negotiation. The seller also seems open to considering trades, so if you've got something interesting to offer up, it might be worth mentioning. Overall, this 1953 Oldsmobile 88 seems like a solid classic car with a lot of potential. As with any vehicle purchase, though, it's important to do your due diligence and gather as much information as possible before making a decision. If you're serious about making an offer, be sure to get in touch with the seller and ask any questions you might have. And of course, if possible, always try to see the car in person before committing to anything. 5. We've got a real blast from the past, a 1963 Plymouth Belvedere that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic sedan is priced at $9,000. And let me tell you, it's got some serious vintage charm. First things first, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as good, which is always a positive sign. However, with a car that's nearly 60 years old, it's important to keep in mind that good is a relative term. There may be some wear and tear that comes with age, so it's always a good idea to inspect the vehicle in person and ask plenty of questions. Now, let's dive into the details. Under the hood, you'll find a V8 318 engine, which is a classic power plant for Mopars of this era. The seller mentions that it runs great, which is definitely a plus. The transmission is a push-button automatic, which is a cool and quirky feature that sets this Belvedere apart from other cars of its time. The ad also notes that the tires and brakes are new, which is great news for anyone looking to drive this beauty on the road. It's always good to know that some of the essential safety components have been recently updated. Aesthetically, this Belvedere is rocking a white paint job, which is a classic color choice for cars of this era. It's a clean and timeless look that never goes out of style. The seller mentions that the car has a clean title, which is always a good sign. It means that there aren't any major legal or financial issues to worry about when it comes to transferring ownership. Mileage-wise, the odometer reads 100,000 miles. For a car that's almost 60 years old, that's not too shabby. Of course, it's important to keep in mind that older vehicles may have had their odometers reset at some point, so it's always a good idea to verify the actual mileage with the seller. All in all, this 1963 Plymouth Belvedere seems like a solid classic car with a lot of potential. It's got a great engine, a unique transmission, and a clean title. The price of $9,000 seems reasonable for a vehicle of this age and condition, but as with any used car purchase, it's important to do your due diligence and gather as much information as possible before making a decision. If you're seriously interested in this Belvedere, I'd recommend reaching out to the seller and asking any questions you might have. See if you can schedule a time to check out the car in person and maybe even take it for a test drive. With a little bit of research and some careful consideration, this classic Plymouth could be a great addition to your garage. 6. We've got a real treat for you, a 1965 Plymouth Valiant that's up for sale on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at $12,400, and let me tell you, it's got some serious performance upgrades that make it stand out from the crowd. First off, let's address the condition. The seller describes it as good, but they also mention that the paint is rough and the interior is worn. This is pretty common for a car that's over 50 years old, so it's important to keep your expectations in check. However, if you're looking for a project car with a ton of potential, this Valiant could be just the ticket. Now, let's talk about what makes this car special. Under the hood, you'll find a Performance 318 engine that's been outfitted with headers, an Edelbrock intake, and a quick fuel 650 4-barrel carb. This combo is sure to provide plenty of power and a great sound. The seller also mentions that the car has electronic ignition, which is a nice modern touch. One of the coolest features of this Valiant is the 4-speed manual transmission with a pistol grip shifter. This setup is a favorite among Mopar enthusiasts, and it's sure to make driving this car a blast. The rear end is an 834 with a 323 gear ratio, which is a great choice for a balance of performance and drivability. The seller notes that the brakes have been redone, which is always a good sign. They also mention that the car is reliable and insured, and that they drive it on weekends. This suggests that the car is in good running condition, despite its age and cosmetic imperfections. Mileage-wise, the odometer reads 65,000 miles. For a car that's over 50 years old, that's relatively low. However, as with any classic car, it's important to verify the actual mileage and condition of the vehicle before making a purchase. The seller mentions that they might be open to trading for an older automatic car or truck. If you've got something interesting to offer up, it could be worth reaching out to them to see if a deal can be made. Overall, this 1965 Plymouth Valiant seems like a great project car for someone who loves classic Mopars. It's got some great performance upgrades, a cool transmission setup, and a ton of potential. The price of $12,400 seems reasonable for a car with these features, but as always, it's important to do your due diligence and inspect the vehicle in person before making a decision. 7. We've got a real gem on our hands, a 1978 Pontiac Grand Le Mans that's up for sale on Craigslist. This beautiful sedan is priced at $8,500, and let me tell you, it's got some serious vintage charm and a whole lot of originality. First things first, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as excellent, and based on the details they've provided, it's easy to see why. The interior features a stunning pistachio green leather that's in pristine condition, with no tears or cracks to be found. It's clear that this car has been very well cared for over the years. On the outside, the seller notes that the car is starting to show its age a bit, primarily due to sun exposure. However, this is to be expected for a vehicle that's over 40 years old, and it doesn't seem to detract from the overall appeal of the car. Mechanically, the seller reports that the car is in great driving condition, with no problems to speak of. They mention that the car has been maintained and serviced regularly, which is always a good sign for a classic vehicle. One of the coolest things about this Grand Le Mans is its history. The seller notes that they are the second owner of the car, and that it was garage kept and only driven on weekends for many years after it was first purchased. This suggests that the car has been cherished and well maintained throughout its life. Mileage-wise, the odometer reads just 59,000 miles, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. The seller confirms that these are the original miles, which is a testament to how well this car has been preserved. Under the hood, you'll find a 5.0-liter, 305 CID V8 motor with a 2-barrel carburetor. This is a classic Pontiac power plant that's known for its reliability and smooth performance. The seller also notes that the air conditioning and radio both work, which is a nice bonus for a car of this vintage. Overall, this 1978 Pontiac Grand Le Mans seems like an incredible find for anyone who loves classic American cars. It's got a great history, low mileage, and a ton of originality. The price of $8,500 seems very reasonable for a car in this condition, especially considering its rarity and unique features. 8. We've got a real beauty on our hands, a 1962 Ford Galaxy that's up for sale on Craigslist. This stunning coupe is priced at $14,500, and let me tell you, it's got some serious vintage style and a whole lot of charm. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as good, and based on the details they've provided, it sounds like this Galaxy has been well cared for over the years. One of the biggest selling points is the fact that it's an Idaho car, which means it's spent its life in a dry, high desert climate. This is great news for anyone who's wary of rust, as it suggests that the car has been spared from the ravages of moisture and salt. The seller notes that the car features its original upholstery, which is a big plus for anyone who values authenticity. They also mention that the car has new carpet and a new headliner, which suggests that the interior has been updated with some modern touches while still retaining its classic feel. Under the hood, you'll find a 292 Y-block motor, which is a classic Ford engine that's known for its durability and smooth performance. The seller also notes that the car has a nice-sounding exhaust system, which is sure to turn heads when you're cruising down the road. One of the coolest features of this Galaxy is its tire setup. The seller mentions that it's got 10-inch rear tires and 8-inch front tires, which gives it a really aggressive stance and a ton of visual appeal. Mileage-wise, the odometer reads 112,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. Of course, as with any classic car, it's important to verify the actual mileage and condition of the vehicle before making a purchase. The seller is asking $14,500 for this Galaxy, but they also note that the price is OBO, or best offer. This suggests that there may be some wiggle room for negotiation, especially if you're a serious buyer who's willing to make a fair offer. Overall, this 1962 Ford Galaxy seems like an incredible find for anyone who loves classic American cars. It's got a great history, a ton of originality, and some really cool features that set it apart from other cars of its era. The price may be a bit steep for some buyers, but for the right person, this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own a truly special vehicle. 9. We've got a real gem on our hands, a 1962 Mercury Comet that's up for sale on Craigslist. This beautiful compact car is priced at just $4,950, and let me tell you, it's got a whole lot of history and charm packed into its little frame. First off, let's talk about the backstory. The seller bought this car from the estate of the original owner about 12 years ago, which is a pretty cool pedigree. It's even got black California plates, with Van Nuys Motors Lincoln Mercury license plate frames, which is a nice touch of authenticity. The light blue paint on this Comet is original, which is really impressive for a car that's over 60 years old. The seller notes that all of the trim is intact, including the front fender gun sights, which are a really cool and distinctive feature of this model. Mileage-wise, the odometer reads under 64,000 miles, which the seller believes is probably correct. That's relatively low for a car of this age, and suggests that it's been well cared for over the years. Under the hood, you'll find what appears to be a 1965 170 or 200 cubic inch Mustang 6-cylinder engine. This is a reliable and efficient power plant that should provide plenty of pep for cruising around town or hitting the highway. The seller notes that they've only driven the car a couple of thousand miles in the 12 years they've owned it, but they've done a ton of work to keep it in top shape. This includes a professional brake overhaul, new shocks, a front-end overhaul, a new brass radiator, a rebuilt carburetor and starter, a tune-up, a new clutch and throwout bearing, and even a new shift collar for the 3-speed manual transmission, which the seller claims is the smoothest shifting one you'll ever see. Inside, the car has new carpet, which is a nice touch. It's also got 5 new tires, including the spare, and 1 good used tire, as well as 4 nice original hubcaps. The seller even threw in a new battery last week. One thing to note is that the push-button AM radio is not working, which is a bit of a bummer, but not a deal breaker by any means. And hey, if you ever need to get under the car, the seller is even throwing in a Comet creeper. Overall, this 1962 Mercury Comet seems like an absolute steal at just $4,950. It's got a ton of original features, a great history, and a whole lot of recent work to keep it running strong. If you're in the market for a classic compact car with a ton of character, this could be the perfect choice. 10. We've got a real blast from the past on our hands. A 1977 Pontiac Grand Prix LJ edition that's up for sale on Craigslist. This gorgeous sedan is priced at just $3,500, and let me tell you, it's got style and power for days. First off, let's talk about what makes this Grand Prix special. It's an LJ edition, which means it's loaded with all sorts of luxury features that were top of the line back in the day. We're talking power seats, a deluxe plush interior, and all sorts of other goodies that make this car a real standout. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 403 V8 engine that's sure to put a smile on your face every time you step on the gas. And with dual exhaust, this thing sounds as good as it looks. The seller notes that the car is in excellent running condition, which is always a big plus when you're dealing with a classic ride. One of the most impressive things about this Grand Prix is its condition. The seller mentions that there are no dents and very little rust, which is pretty remarkable for a car that's over 40 years old. They also note that the car is in its original shape, which is a testament to how well it's been cared for over the years. Mileage-wise, the odometer reads just 95,344 miles, which the seller describes as actual low miles. That's pretty incredible for a car of this age, and suggests that it's been babied and well maintained throughout its life. Aesthetically, this Grand Prix is a real head-turner. It's got a stunning red paint job that's sure to turn heads wherever you go, and the LJ Edition badges and trim add a touch of class and sophistication. The seller is asking just $3,500 for this beauty, which seems like an absolute bargain when you consider all the features and history that come with it. They even mention that they're open to trade-ins, so if you've got something cool to offer up, it might be worth reaching out to them. Overall, this 1977 Pontiac Grand Prix LJ edition seems like an incredible find for anyone who loves classic American cars. It's got power, style, and a whole lot of character, all wrapped up in a surprisingly affordable package. If you're in the market for a vintage ride that's sure to stand out from the crowd, this could be the perfect choice. 11. We've got a real blast from the past, a 1960 Edsel Ranger that's been lovingly owned by the same person for over 2 decades. This classic beauty is ready for a new home, and it could be yours for just $6,500. Now, let's talk about the nitty-gritty. The seller has been upfront about the car's condition, and it's looking pretty good for its age. With a fresh brake job, new tires, and shiny chrome wheels, this Ranger is ready to hit the road in style. The car runs excellently, and the seller even has a new carpet kit ready for installation, so you can give the interior a fresh look. Under the hood, you'll find a trusty 6-cylinder engine that's paired with a manual transmission, giving you that classic driving experience. The odometer shows 93,290 miles, which is a testament to the car's durability and the care it's received over the years. The seller has been straightforward about the sale. It's cash only, and the car is currently located in Colville, Washington. The title is clean and in the seller's name, so you can have peace of mind knowing that the transaction will be smooth and legal. While the Edsel brand may have had a short lifespan, the Ranger model has become a sought-after classic. This 1960 Edsel Ranger 2-door post is a rare find, and it's an excellent opportunity for any collector or enthusiast looking to own a piece of automotive history. In summary, this 1960 Edsel Ranger is a well-maintained classic, with a few updates that make it ready for its next adventure. The seller has been transparent about the car's condition and the sale details, so you can feel confident in your purchase. Don't miss out on the chance to own this unique piece of American automotive heritage. 12. We've got a real treat for you, a stunning 1964 Ford Ranchero that's sure to turn heads wherever it goes. This beauty can be yours for $15,000, and trust me, it's worth every penny. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Ranchero. The seller has listed it as excellent, and based on the details provided, I've got no reason to doubt it. The black paint job looks sleek and shiny, and it's clear that this classic has been well maintained over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 331 engine that's paired with a C4 automatic transmission, ensuring smooth and reliable performance. The Ranchero is a rear-wheel drive vehicle, giving you that classic driving experience that's hard to find in modern cars. Now, the seller did mention that the odometer has rolled over, which means it's showing 100,000 miles. However, that's not necessarily a bad thing. These old Fords were built to last, and with proper care and maintenance, they can easily go well beyond that mileage. Plus, the fact that the odometer has rolled over is a testament to the car's longevity and the adventures it's been on. The title is clean, so you can have peace of mind knowing that there are no hidden issues or surprises waiting for you down the road. And with a vehicle like this, you're not just buying a car, you're buying a piece of American automotive history. The 1964 Ford Ranchero is a rare find, and it's a vehicle that's sure to appreciate in value over time. Whether you're looking for a daily driver with some serious style or a classic to add to your collection, this Ranchero is a solid choice. In summary, this 1964 Ford Ranchero is an excellent example of a well-maintained classic vehicle. With its powerful engine, smooth automatic transmission, and clean title, it's a car that's ready to hit the road and turn heads. The seller has been upfront about the mileage, but that shouldn't deter you from considering this beauty. If you're in the market for a classic Ford that's sure to impress, this Ranchero is definitely worth checking out. 13. We've got a real gem for you. A 1965 Ford Thunderbird convertible that's just waiting for a new owner to give it the love it deserves. This classic American beauty can be yours for just $9,700, or best offer. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The seller has listed the car's condition as good, but they've also been upfront about the fact that it needs some work. This Thunderbird runs fine, but it's going to need some TLC to bring it back to its former glory. That being said, with a clean Nevada title and no major issues mentioned, this car is a solid starting point for a restoration project. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 390 special V8 engine that's mated to a Cruise-O-Matic automatic 3-speed transmission. This engine pumps out an impressive 300 horsepower and 427 lb-ft of torque, so you know it's got plenty of get up and go. The Thunderbird is a rear-wheel drive vehicle, which means you'll get to experience that classic American muscle car feel every time you hit the gas. The odometer shows just 67,723 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. While it may need some work, the low mileage suggests that this Thunderbird has been well cared for over the years. The red paint job is sure to turn heads, and with a little bit of elbow grease, you could have this classic looking like it just rolled off the showroom floor. As a convertible, this Thunderbird is the perfect car for cruising on a warm summer day. Imagine dropping the top and feeling the wind in your hair as you navigate the twists and turns of your favorite road. It's an experience that's hard to beat. The seller has mentioned that the car needs some love, but they've also highlighted some of its strengths. The Ford 4-barrel carburetor is a reliable piece of equipment, and the fact that the car runs fine is a testament to the quality of its construction. In summary, this 1965 Ford Thunderbird convertible is a classic American car that's waiting for the right owner to give it the attention it deserves. With its powerful engine, low mileage, and clean title, it's a solid choice for anyone looking for a vintage convertible. The seller has been honest about the car's condition, and while it may need some work, it's got a lot of potential. If you're ready to take on a project car that's sure to turn heads, this Thunderbird is definitely worth considering. 14. We've got a real treat for you, a 1966 Pontiac Catalina that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $6,500. This classic beauty is a 2-door post model, and according to the seller, it's in good condition. That's right, this isn't some rusted out heap that's been sitting in a field for decades. No, this Catalina is ready to hit the road. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's sure to get your heart racing. And with a new HEI distributor, you can count on reliable performance every time you turn the key. The car also comes with new tires, so you won't have to worry about any unexpected blowouts on your weekend cruises. Now, I know what you might be thinking. 187 miles? That's a lot. But let me tell you, for a car that's over 50 years old, that's nothing. These classic Pontiacs were built to last, and with proper care and maintenance, this Catalina will keep running strong for years to come. One of the coolest things about this car is the purple paint job. It's not every day you see a classic ride rocking such a bold color, but hey, that's what makes it stand out from the crowd. And with a clean title, you won't have to worry about any pesky paperwork issues when it comes time to make this beauty your own. Now, I want to be straight with you. The seller does mention that the car runs and drives well, but they don't go into a ton of detail about its overall condition. So, if you're serious about making this Catalina your next project car, I definitely recommend taking it for a test drive and having a mechanic give it a once-over before you commit. But overall, if you're looking for a classic American muscle car with plenty of style and character, this 1966 Pontiac Catalina is definitely worth checking out. And at just $6,500, it's a steal compared to some of the other classic rides out there on the market. 15. We've got a real blast from the past for you. A 1963 Ford Falcon Futura that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $4,500. This classic sedan is a true time capsule with its original inline-six 170 engine and factory 3-on-the-tree manual transmission. Now, I know what you might be thinking. 79,000 miles? That's not too bad for a car that's almost 60 years old. And you'd be right. The seller has clearly put some work into keeping this Falcon on the road with a new gas tank, front and rear springs, front shocks, carb, fuel pump, and lines. Plus, the transmission, rear end fluid, oil, and air cleaner have all been changed recently. But let's be real. This car isn't perfect. The seller is upfront about the fact that it needs some work, particularly in the rust department. The rear passenger fender either needs to be replaced or patched up, and the front passenger fender is also in need of some TLC. There's also a stumble in the engine that suggests a carb adjustment or replacement might be in order. Inside, the seats could use some new upholstery, and the carpet is due for a refresh. But hey, that's all part of the charm of owning a classic car, right? It's a chance to put your own personal touch on a piece of automotive history. Despite its flaws, this Falcon has a lot going for it. The trunk is solid, and all the trim and glass are intact. The blue paint job is a classic color that really pops in the sunlight. And with a clean title, you won't have to worry about any surprises when it comes time to register this beauty in your name. Now, the seller says this Falcon would be a great start for a full restoration, and I couldn't agree more. With a little elbow grease and some patience, you could have this car looking and running like it just rolled off the assembly line. Or, if you're more of a drive-it-as-is kind of person, this Falcon would make a killer Sunday cruiser. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a classic American sedan with plenty of potential, this 1963 Ford Falcon Futura is definitely worth a closer look. And at just $4,500, it's a bargain compared to some of the other vintage rides out there. 16. We just spotted a gorgeous 1968 Ford Fairlane 500 up for grabs on Craigslist. And let me tell you, this thing is a real head-turner. With a price tag of just $9,150, this classic beauty could be yours. First off, can we talk about the condition of this car? The seller describes it as amazing, and from the looks of it, that's no exaggeration. The blue paint job is absolutely stunning. It's the kind of color that just pops in the sunlight and makes you want to take this baby out for a spin. Under the hood, you'll find a 289 cubic inch V8 engine that's sure to get your heart racing. And with an automatic transmission, you won't have to worry about shifting gears while you're cruising down the highway. This Fairlane is all about smooth, effortless driving. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, 59,200 miles? That's a lot for a classic car. But here's the thing. For a vehicle that's over 50 years old, that mileage is actually pretty low. It suggests that this Fairlane has been well maintained over the years, and that's definitely a good sign. One of the coolest things about this car is that it's a 4-door model. That means you can bring your friends and family along for the ride and share the experience of driving a true American classic. And with a clean title, you won't have to worry about any pesky paperwork issues when it comes time to make this beauty your own. Now, I do want to be upfront with you. The seller doesn't provide a ton of details about the car's history or any recent maintenance that's been done. So, if you're serious about making this Fairlane your next ride, I definitely recommend taking it for a test drive and having a mechanic give it a once-over before you commit. But overall, if you're in the market for a classic car that's sure to turn heads and get people talking, this 1968 Ford Fairlane 500 is definitely worth checking out. It's got style, power, and a price tag that won't break the bank. 17. We've got a real unicorn on our hands. A 1975 Chevrolet Malibu Classic wagon that's up for grabs on Craigslist for just $12,500. This is no ordinary station wagon, folks. It's a true one-of-a-kind gem with a fascinating history behind it. According to the seller, this Malibu was originally used by a dealer as a tow car for their race car. That's right, this baby was built to haul. After its racing days were over, it was sold to its first owner, and the original dealer bill of sale is even included in the sale. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 454 cubic inch V8 engine paired with a turbo 400 automatic transmission. That's a whole lot of power for a wagon, and it's sure to put a grin on your face every time you step on the gas. The car also comes equipped with power steering, power brakes, and cruise control, making it a breeze to drive on long road trips. One of the coolest things about this Malibu is its unique dealer-ordered spec. It's got 8-inch rally wheels, a roof rack with a deflector, and a power hatch release, all rare options for a wagon from this era. The interior is also in great shape, with working power windows and locks, and an AC system that just needs a quick recharge. Now, I do want to be upfront about a few things. The seller notes that there is some rust in the door bottoms, wheel arches, and spare tire well. There's also some surface rust starting to develop on the hood, but let's be real. For a car that's almost 50 years old, a little rust is to be expected. The floors are solid, and the car comes with a clean title, so you can buy with confidence. The seller also mentions that the dual exhaust system needs new tailpipes, but they've got you covered there too. 2 new GM tailpipes are included in the sale, along with an OE grille and some extra window seals. Perhaps the most exciting thing about this Malibu is its similarity to the ultra-rare 1973 Chevelle Malibu SS 454 wagon. The seller notes that this car has the same specs, just without the SS badging. And if recent auction results are any indication, these wagons are highly sought after by collectors. A similar car just sold on Bring a Trailer for a whopping $21,700. So if you're in the market for a truly unique classic car with a ton of character and a great story behind it, this 1975 Chevrolet Malibu Classic wagon is definitely worth a closer look. And at just $12,500, it's a bargain compared to some of the other rare wagons out there. 18. We just spotted a stunning 1964 Chevrolet Corvair Monza convertible up for grabs on Craigslist, and let me tell you, this thing is a real beauty. With a price tag of just $10,000, this classic drop top could be yours. First off, can we talk about the condition of this car? The seller describes it as excellent, and from the looks of it, that's no exaggeration. The custom burgundy paint job is absolutely gorgeous. It's the kind of color that just oozes sophistication and style. And with just 83,257 miles on the odometer, this Corvair has plenty of life left in it. Under the hood, you'll find a 6-cylinder engine that's sure to provide plenty of pep for cruising around town or hitting the open road. And with an automatic transmission, you won't have to worry about shifting gears while you're soaking up the sun with the top down. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, 80,257 miles? That's a lot for a classic car. But here's the thing. The Corvair was known for its durability and reliability, and this one has clearly been well maintained over the years. The fact that everything works, well, except for the gas gauge, but hey, that's an easy fix, is a testament to the care that's been put into this car. One of the coolest things about the Corvair is its unique rear engine design. It's a feature that sets it apart from other cars of its era and makes it a true conversation starter. And with a convertible top, you'll be able to enjoy all the benefits of open-air driving while still having the option to put the top up when the weather gets dicey. Now, I do want to be upfront about one thing. The seller doesn't provide a ton of details about the car's history or any recent maintenance that's been done. So if you're serious about making this Corvair your next ride, I'd definitely recommend taking it for a test drive and having a mechanic give it a once-over before you commit. But overall, if you're in the market for a classic convertible that's sure to turn heads and put a smile on your face every time you get behind the wheel, this 1964 Chevrolet Corvair Monza is definitely worth checking out. It's got style, character, and a price tag that won't break the bank. 19. We're diving into a classic American beauty, the 1974 Chevrolet Nova. This particular model is up for grabs on Craigslist for a cool $15,000. Let's take a closer look at what this vintage ride has to offer. First off, the seller claims this Nova is in great condition, and from the details provided, it seems to check out. With just 27,523 miles on the odometer, which has rolled over once, this car has been well maintained since the current owner bought it way back in 1986. That's nearly 40 years of loving care. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 350 V8 engine that the seller says runs very nicely. Paired with an automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive, this setup promises a classic muscle car experience. The Nova was known for its solid performance in its heyday, and this one appears to be no exception. Aesthetically, the maroon exterior and black interior create a striking color combination that's sure to turn heads. The 74 Nova's hatchback body style is a bit more unique than the more common coupe, adding to its appeal for collectors and enthusiasts. Now, it's important to note that while the seller praises the car's condition, a thorough inspection is always recommended before making a purchase. Even well-maintained classics can have hidden issues, so it's best to approach any deal with a discerning eye. Overall, if you're in the market for a vintage American muscle car with a strong pedigree and what appears to be a solid maintenance history, this 1974 Chevrolet Nova could be a great choice. Its combination of classic style, V8 power, and relatively low mileage make it an attractive option for collectors and weekend cruisers alike. 20. We're taking a look at a real blast from the past, a beautifully restored 1977 Chrysler Cordoba. This classic ride is currently up for sale on Craigslist with an asking price of $14,000. Let's dive into what makes this car so special. First and foremost, the history of this Cordoba is quite impressive. It's been in the same family since it was brand new back in 1977, and it hails from the dry, rust-free climate of New Mexico. That's a huge plus for any classic car, as it greatly reduces the risk of hidden rust issues. The seller has clearly put a lot of love and effort into restoring this Cordoba. The 360 motor and 904 transmission were rebuilt just 3,000 miles ago, ensuring that this classic cruiser runs like a dream. The car also boasts new upholstery, giving the interior a fresh, updated look while maintaining its vintage charm. Under the hood, you'll find some tasteful modifications, including a shaved firewall and hidden wiring, which give the engine bay a clean, modern appearance. The bumpers have also been shaved and re-chromed, adding to the car's sleek, streamlined look. One thing to note is that the air conditioner is not currently hooked up, which could be a drawback for some buyers. However, the addition of headers and a dual exhaust system hints at the Cordoba's performance potential and adds a nice throaty growl to the driving experience. The seller describes this Cordoba as a great cruiser, and based on the information provided, I'd have to agree. With its rust-free body, rebuilt mechanicals, and tasteful upgrades, this classic Chrysler seems like it would be a joy to drive and show off at local car meets. As with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to inspect the vehicle thoroughly before making a decision. But if everything checks out, this 1977 Chrysler Cordoba could be a fantastic addition to any enthusiast's garage.